Can we get this video to like broadband or something? Can we get some YouTuber to make a video on it?
Nobody watches me, but I have a stream bot of it, so I could send it.
Like, email it to some YouTuber and be like, hey, can we like make this guy known? Like, can we please like do something about this?
This morning, I woke up from a few messages on my Discord and a few messages in my iRacing DMs and also my Instagram DMs about a certain team in Split 22 in the iRacing 24 Hours of Spa. Now, this event is, I don't want to use the word prestigious, but many people put a lot of hours, sink a lot of time and effort, book time off work, and just grind it out and try and do their best to win this event. It's a very, very difficult event to win. I think we can all agree. GT3s on iRacing, specifically these days, are just so popular, and the talent and skill to be shown these days is remarkable. So lots of people put time and effort to try and win this event because it's amazing to say you won the Spa 24 hour. Now, unfortunately, in Split 22, there was a team of real-life racing drivers, some professionals, that didn't quite have the same mindset. Their mindset was more like, we don't care what effort they've put in. We're real-life racing drivers. Who cares about these guys that drive pixelated versions of what we drive? I don't care. If it goes wrong, I'm going to ruin the race for everybody else in there. And that is exactly what they did. So when I got these messages, I checked it out, and it's pretty damn horrific, I've got to say. This is probably one of the worst examples, regardless if they're professional drivers or not, regardless of their stature. This is pathetic. This is really, really, really poor. And you're going to see it unfold. Now, I'm not going to edit it too much because I kind of want you to just sit back and see exactly how it unfolded. Now, I got sent the replay file this morning, and it is from lap 123. Now, I don't know what happened prior to this, but someone did mention that they were, unfortunately, by accident, taken out. And previous to lap 123 as well, after they got the car repaired and went back out again, they crashed themselves. And then after that, all hell broke loose. So we're going to start this journey from lap 123, and it goes on for a while. And hopefully, fingers crossed, this video brings to light that just because you're a real-life driver doesn't mean you have to be an absolute arsehole. So, with that in mind, sit back and just watch these real-life drivers just turn to complete dicks because they're just dicks. Okay, so you join me at the start of when this replay file actually starts itself. Unfortunately, I didn't get the full replay, but we start on lap 123 on board with this team. Now, studying the laps here, it looks like they had an okay race and everything was going fine. Until we get a little bit further down here, things start to go wrong about lap 90. No lap times, a 2-minute 38 lap time there, and then a 7-minute 19. So this is where I believe the first incident occurred, and they went in the pits and got their repairs done. Now they come out, James finishes his stints, and then Ethan gets in the car. And again, something happened here that we can't quite see. And they have a 4-minute and 1 second lap time. So again, they've gone in the pits to get some repairs. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Lap 146, Ethan goes in the pits, and they have a 7-minute, plus a 7-minute pit stop. Now, nothing seems particularly special about this. They've got some damage at the front, but nothing crazy. Now, he sits in the car for a while, gets out, gets back in again, and he's just sat there for quite some time. So I assume he's just getting the repairs done. Now, the ping doesn't seem too great as he's pinging in and out. His car keeps disappearing and then coming back again. And so far, so good. He seems to be letting some cars by. Nothing suspicious about this at all. So far, so good. You know, it just looks like that maybe they've just had a bad race and things just haven't gone their way. Been involved in a few incidents. Had to pit for some repairs, but it is what it is. And we crack on and we just try and finish the race regardless and try and make up any positions that we can. Now, at this point, Ethan makes a mistake here. All by himself. Now, I don't know if this is where he just switches, because it's just a very odd mistake to make, because I don't know why he would go so slow and then accelerate on the grass. It's a bit of a strange one. I can't lie. I don't know if this is the trigger point for him, but yeah, it seems to go downhill pretty quickly from here. Now, a few laps later, we start slowing down quite a bit. And for some reason, he's not a very big fan of the BMW behind him. And he starts to slow down quite a lot. So much, in fact, that a group of cars will start catching up with him pretty quickly. But in particular, this BMW seems to be the first of many that he, in particular, is going to annoy in this stint. You can see the BMW's flashing to try and say, I want to get past. At this point, this team is in P47. So they're pretty far down the pecking order. And there's not really much for them to fight for at the moment. And P22 is trying to make their intentions known that they would like to get past. Now we go down the straight here as we exit the chicane, and we're going to go into La Source. Now it looks like he lifts, then he goes to left and does this to cut the BMW driver off. And as we go a little bit further on down the Kemmel Straight, it's a defensive maneuver to say, I don't want you to get past me. Now, I don't know why this would be the case, because he is P47, and the BMW behind is now P21. You can see another car has caught the pack. This is now P12, and I imagine P12 is thinking to himself, what's going on here? Why have you not got past him? Now, as we forward on a little bit here, you can see again, the BMW is trying to get past, but this McLaren is blocking any sort of move that they try to do. Now, this is where we get the first coming together, shall we say, of the cars. Now, again, moves over in the braking zone, gets tapped, manages to keep it, but then purposely spins out P21. So already, yeah, not great. Not great at all. So that is victim number one. And I think straight away from this, the Corvette behind has kind of realised what's going on here. So I think the Corvette driver is also worried about overtaking this guy. Now, the Mercedes in P26 at this point, again, doesn't really know what's going on, but has caught the queue and is thinking to himself, why am I so much quicker than the two cars up ahead? Goes for his normal braking point, and unfortunately does collect the Corvette a little bit. Now, this is purely because the Corvette is trying to stay out of the way of the McLaren that's trying to basically block the road. Now, the McLaren does have a skill issue, and does, bizarrely, which is just doesn't make any sense to me, gets out of the way of the other cars. And I don't really... This is where it gets so confusing for me, because I don't understand why he's driving in the way that he is, but only for certain cars. When he spins at the source, he could have easily just gone forward here. So he spins here, and he easily could have just gone forward and got in the way of many cars and ruined their race. But he decides to do the right thing, which is reverse and crack on. Which, again, doesn't really make much sense to me, because why is he just being, you know, why was he being just hostile towards those two cars and nobody else? But we move forward, and it gets a lot worse. So a little bit further on, we have Martin here in the McLaren has caught up to our friends in the pink and white McLaren. As you can see, much faster. And this team ahead is struggling for pace, and they pretty much have been since they crashed. So you can see he's trying to get past, but he's not exactly making it easy for him. Now, he does get rather close there, and, you know, he could just be being a bit of an arse and just trying to, you know, not lose too much time by having a car overtaken. But you can see here, he flashes and then goes for a Ricciardo-esque kind of send. Fails, tries to accelerate, and then spins out, which is incredibly embarrassing, I have to say. So I don't really understand the mindset of this guy at the moment. I don't really get what he's trying to do or what he's trying to achieve. I don't know if it's some specific teams that he's aiming for, or it's just people that he just doesn't like for some reason. I don't really understand. Now, until Ethan pits about 5 to 10 laps later, anybody that came across his path was a victim of his stupidness, because he would not let anybody pass regardless of their position. Now, this time you got P34 behind him. He is P47, and at this point, he is just lagging like crazy as well. And he also has a lag of the brain, because he does have a massive skill issue and spins himself out at that point there. So that was, thankfully, a relief for the BMW driver, because he does eventually get past due to this man not being able to take poo on correctly. Now, he does blink for quite some time, and he does eventually manage to pit, and this is where Zach gets in the car. Now, Zach is, some may argue, the worst of the group in terms of what happens in this event. And he is going to prove that to you, boys and girls, right now. Because if you think what Ethan was doing was pretty bad, Zach takes it to a whole new level. Oh, yes, he does. Now, he comes out, don't know why, does a lap, comes in the pits, maybe Server drives through, which means they've got 100 instant points on lap 163. That's pretty bad, right? That would be pretty bad. And all the off-tracks here, this is from the off-tracks from the team that gave me a replay. Now, straight after he's come out the pits, he has his first victim, P28 at this point, and straight away, he gets towards the task of just slowing down, blocking any sort of avenue for the cars behind to overtake. And this builds up to be quite the queue. Now you join us a few laps later, and you can see the queue has very much formed, and it's quite a big one, but this is not going to be the biggest queue you actually see. Now, everybody at this point is desperately trying to get past. The McLaren behind, unfortunately, did blink out, but they are a victim, I believe, of trying to get past this car and basically not succeeding. I'll let you just go wild with imagination in terms of what happened there when he tried to overtake this car, and how he ended up with no front bumper or lights. But as you can see, everybody is starting to form not an orderly queue, but a very frustrated queue indeed. And any sort of attempt anybody tries to make as they try and get past, he blocks it. And you can see just how slow he's going. Just how slow he is going, and it's caused a bit of havoc behind, as well as they all kind of just not fight between themselves, but everyone just wants to be, well, you go to the front of the queue and give it a go. You go to the front of the queue and give it a go. What's happening? And there's just, it's just not great. It's not great at all. And yeah, he tries to sprint away at this point. Well, I say he's trying to sprint away. I mean, look what just happens as we get to the final chicane. Brakes very early and slows, well, to a turtle's pace here to really just cause as much havoc as he can. And prime example of just not letting the McLaren go by. And you can see a lap later, he's still up to the same tricks, not letting anybody go past here. And just going so slow. And you can just feel that this traffic jam is just going to get larger and larger and larger. And at what point does someone say, I've had enough, and tries to take them out? Now, a lap later, you can really see he's really starting to be a bit of an arse now. And there are just a lot of cars behind him now. A lot of cars. And yeah, it's just the whole lobby has now clocked on to what this team is doing. And pretty much everybody here was just scared to overtake him. And with good reason. They didn't want their race ruined. They put a lot of prep and a lot of time and effort into this. They just wanted to complete the race as safely as they could. They wanted to get to the end, and they didn't want to get involved with this guy at all. Because, unfortunately, he just won't get kicked during the race. Yeah, it'll just be something that's dealt with afterwards. So, I think the mindset here for every driver is just to try and get past him safely and get to the end. And this Porsche has had several goes at him, but he just cannot get past. Thankfully, once again, their skill issue starts to shine, and they do spin, which is a bit of a relief, as you can see the amount of cars that are going past. But yet again, it's just odd behaviour because he doesn't bother reversing into anybody. He stops, reverses, and starts to go again. So it's just so bizarre to me. It's like he wanted to cause maximum damage or just be an absolute you-know-what for the sake of it and having a laugh. And he didn't want to damage his car because that would stop that from happening. So, yeah. Now, this is where it starts to get even weirder, okay? So, on that 177, he pits, slows right down. Right down. I can't quite fathom why. And they're starting to talk about it in the bottom right-hand corner of the chat as well. So, he leaves the pits, but he's going very, very slowly. Now, my opinion here is that he is looking for a specific team or a specific driver because everybody seems to be flying past him at the moment. And he's not that bothered. As you can see, he's slowed right down. But once this car appears here, this McLaren, well, you're going to see. So he approaches, tries to go around the outside. He knows what he's like. And immediately, look, he's wise to it. He knows he's trying to block him and take him out if he goes past. So I don't know what beef this team has, this McLaren, but yeah, certainly just trying to take him out at this point. Now, once again, unbelievably, he has another skill issue, loses the rear of the McLaren, manages to keep it. One BMW gets past, but a McLaren gets held. Now, someone tries to go around the outside, rejoins, unfortunately straight in front of them, and carnage unfolds. But you can just see the amount of cars behind there that were just scared. They knew what they were coming up to, and they didn't want to deal with it. They did not want to deal with it. So, this goes past here, tries to block the McLaren. This car tries to go around. Unfortunately, doesn't quite make it. Few crashes, but immediately he gets back to the job of just trying to block anybody that goes past. This Ferrari behind here. Already got an eye on him. That Porsche is petrified, so kind of just lets him go. And the McLaren here, there. You see, he just randomly speeds up. Just look at this. Tries to block the pit entry for the Porsche. And I don't understand. I don't understand why. It's so weird watching this replay because it doesn't seem to make any sense as to what he's doing. Now, this team's had enough. Little side swipe there to say, leave us alone. Now, unfortunately, I do believe this Ferrari pays the price as the McLaren here just approaches. I believe gets a little bit closer and does end up taking this Ferrari out as we wait for it. You can see what's going to happen here. Bosch doesn't brake. I mean, good grief. Like, just takes him out. And then he's back down to slowing right down again to not let anybody pass. And I should mention once again, they're in P46 at this point. They have nothing to fight for. They're just ruining the race for everybody else in this split. When they, like I said, they put all their time and effort into this. You know, some people, this is the one special event they can do a year. And they practice really hard for this. And they shouldn't have their attempt ruined by someone like this. You can see this guy is lagging like crazy now. And again, back to his ways and blocking this Ferrari. But it's pretty damn horrific, isn't it? And you can see the speed at which he is going now. You can just see there's going to be a bunch of cars appear behind him because yet again he's starting to cause quite the queue because nobody wants to get past. There's some flashing lights behind there. They've just formed an orderly queue because they don't really know what to do. They want to get past, of course they do, but they don't want this race ruined by this idiot. Ferrari gets close here, and the McLaren just parks in the middle of the racetrack, and unfortunately, Ferrari does lose their front bumper. It seems to ping back there, but yeah, a bit of net code, and I don't know how many cars I'm counting here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 cars in that queue now, as they're all just trying to get past. But despite the damage, just bloody hell. Despite the damage, nobody is just able to get past. But oddly, he pulls over. And again, this is just where I just can't fathom what's going through their mind. They just went, yep, I'll let them go this time. But just pulls over and then just starts racing again. It's so strange. It is so strange. It's behaviour I just can't understand, and I can't quite fathom. So that at this point now, he has no rear lights. He's got lights at the front, but he's got no rear lights. And he goes in the pits. Now James gets in the car. And you think to yourself, oh, it's a driver change, maybe it'll be okay. No. James, at this point now, is slowing right down. And again, he's weaving on the straight. Now, this Merc approaches, and he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know whether it's safe to pass or not. He slows right down, and can you blame the guy? Can you blame him? He's just trying to get past, and yeah. It's pretty damn poor. Luckily, this Mercedes gets past, and so does this McLaren. But once again, this guy just... This is the thing. It's a different driver, and they're doing the same stuff. And once again, a queue is starting to form. It's pretty bad. Now, I think it's pretty obvious at this point, this whole team just deserves a permanent ban from iRacing. It's pretty bad. For your whole team to do it on multiple occasions, and to do it on such a special event as well, there's no excuse. There's no 30-day, 60-day ban, year ban, whatever. For me, this is just a straight up... This is a straight up ban from the service for every single one of them. They don't deserve to go back on this sim again. They don't deserve it. You can't ruin the races of so many teams and so many people who have put so much effort in and just be a slap on the wrist or a 30-day, 60-day, year ban, whatever. You shouldn't, with this kind of behavior, you should not be allowed back on the sim at all. And I hope iRacing do something serious about this, and I hope a permanent ban is done for this team, because it's just not good enough. Look at this, mate. It's pathetic. It is utterly pathetic. And it's such a shame. It really is just such a shame. Look at the queue now, look. Look at this queue. Your Porsche trying to get past, having to hit the brakes there. You know? It's pretty horrific. It really is. The way this guy's driving. Look at that. I'd be embarrassed. I don't care if you're a real life racing driver or not. This is just so embarrassing. Like, this is so embarrassing. This guy will have sponsors. This team will have sponsors and all sorts, you know, to get them to where they are. And I know this is not a real life race. And I know it's just some pixels on the screen, but some people take this thing seriously, you know. And if this is the kind of driver you've got racing for your team, I wouldn't want him anywhere near my team. Look at this. Look at the desperation. Look at this point. Look at this. It's got to the point now where people are so desperate to get past, they're willing to go around the outside. And this is smart. This is smart. It's better to go around the outside and serve the slowdown. Because he's not going to catch it. Look at the state of his car. Look at the state of the car. They're not going to get past. And yeah, this havoc just continues until eventually, believe it or not, they do actually get disqualified for not serving their penalty. So at this point, they have over 100 instant points, or they've got another penalty. So they've got a drive-through penalty. And they're not serving it. Such is their rage and their commitment to being an arse, they've not realised, or just thought, sod it, they did not pit for their penalty. So this does end eventually, but it doesn't end quickly enough for this. I mean, look at this. This is something I have never seen anything like this before. Look at that. Look at it. No words. There are no words for it. I wish I had the vocabulary to sum up just how poor this is and how bad I feel for everybody else. I think this is at the point now where they get disqualified. They get disqualified because they did not serve the penalty. So he should have been in the pits at this point. He's not. And as soon as I think the sim realises he's gone past the pit exit and he hasn't served his penalty, he goes through here and they get disqualified. But yeah, the whole situation it's a poor one. And yeah, I mean, yeah, look at it. From where they were on lap 123, where they were just going along, something just snapped. And by the time, you know, they got to lap 183, yeah, just so poor, so poor. So, like I said, the people in the lobby wanted a YouTuber to highlight just what happened here, and hopefully, fingers crossed, this video does it justice, and hopefully, the people of iRacing see this and ban every single member of this team, because it's not acceptable. They shouldn't be on this sim, and we'll see what happens. But you know, if I'm sponsoring these guys, I know it's just iRacing, maybe nothing will happen, but I'd be completely and utterly embarrassed. And I wouldn't want them representing me or any sort of company that I'm associated with, because it's embarrassing. It's utterly embarrassing. And yeah, I hope they get the worst kind of punishment from iRacing. Fingers crossed they do. And my apologies and to every single team that suffered in this split. You didn't deserve that. And fingers crossed this video does something about that. But anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. Do the usual stuff on the way out, and I'll catch you for the next one. Take care, guys.